But Jesus is not the cause of Lazarus' pain. Oftentimes we see God as the one who's to blame for our pain, but he's not the one who caused it in the first place. Here's a better look at causality. Our second point is that God is not the author of evil and pain. God's not the one who started all of this. There are two reasons why evil and bad things happen in this world. Two reasons why we encounter suffering. Number one reason is stupidity or sin. Okay? Stupidity or sin. For example, if you take a sledgehammer, smash it into your thigh, and all of a sudden you say, "Ow, that hurt! God, you're to blame." No, God's not to blame. That just came from the land of stupid. Okay? That's where the pain came from. Similarly, if you smoke all your life and you get lung cancer, well, you've been contributing to that your entire life. Or if you're promiscuous, you get STDs, well, that happened because of your actions. There's a correlation there. In fact, when you look at the vast majority of evil, pain, and suffering in the world, it comes because you or some other human being in proximity to you made bad choices. Murder, drug use, divorce, hunger, war, you name it. The less bad choices you make, the less those things will happen to you, the less pain will hit you. The number one contributing factor to pain and suffering in this world is just stupidity and sin. But this isn't usually what bothers us when we ask this question. What bothers us is, well, what if it's not because it's somebody's own fault? And that comes to reason number two. And reason number two is just randomness. We experience pain on a random basis. Now, ultimately, it's the fallout of living in a sinful world. If we make less bad choices in this world, less bad things will happen, but it's almost impossible to escape the idea that diseases and natural disaster and trauma to children and accidents happen to seemingly random people. In fact, it is kind of random because we live in a world that's spinning out of control. Sin has so affected the universe that the very fabric of the universe is warped and yearning to be redeemed. It's a problem that we experience. In the meantime, we're suffering. We're aware that something is totally wrong in this world. All of us get sick. All of us experience loss. All of us die. Some people may die earlier in life. Some may get more years in their life, and they die later. Sometimes the people who get more years experience so much loss along the way, including most of their friends before they die, that they wish they would have died earlier so they wouldn't have to experience all that grief. But one way or another, everybody experiences loss. But I think one of the problems is that we fail to make the connection between these two factors, our own sin and the fallout of a sinful world. You see, evil is not created by God. He created a good world. And He created us with a free will and the capacity to love. Because we have a free will, we can love other people. This means that we can choose to love, or we can also choose evil. And when we choose evil, it infects not only that moment, but it infects our souls and our relationships and even the systems that we live in and the very created order. I mean, imagine billions of people with handfuls of sin contributing to the created order going out of control, and you can see why we live in a warped world. And when this world is a wreck and spinning out of control, sometimes because of the damage to the world, there's damage to the people that live in that world, and it hits random people. So directly or indirectly, we go back to sin. And I think this world is a wreck, and we oftentimes underestimate just how wrecked this world is by our sin, distancing ourselves from pain, insulating ourselves on purpose. But when that pain randomly hits us, or somebody that we love, we feel isolated, or we feel like we are in shock. And we begin asking big questions like, okay, God, where are you in the midst of my pain?